Good morning. My name is Beth Osmer, and welcome to the Spiritual Warrior YouTube channel. Thank you for your patience as I have been hopping on here a little bit later than 8 o'clock Pacific. So, we come on here weekly to talk about various topics related to what it means to be a spiritual warrior, what it means to be a spiritual leader during this time, what it means to be a human during this time. As you know, if you're attracted to something called the spiritual warrior, we are in interesting times, beautiful times as our consciousness on this planet is shifting. And for some people, the consciousness is diminishing. So some people are moving up into higher states of consciousness, higher states of truth, and some people are not. They are actually devolving at this time. So we're in a very polarized place. So what I would like to talk about today is, what is a mind virus? What is a mind virus? This is a very interesting topic, and I think it will support you in understanding some things, ways of thinking and group thinking and collective thinking. I think it will really support you. So one thing I want to preface before we go deep into what is a mind virus is that this is not about, what I'm going to be sharing with you is not about keep allowing you to be a victim to what I'm going to be sharing. So you'll see what I mean in just a minute. Because there are some things that we're navigating here on the planet, and as spiritual warriors and empowered beings, we do not want to be victims to these things. So by becoming aware of what's going on, then we can be empowered around it. Sorry, my dog is losing it because there's lizards and all kinds of things now that it's spring. Okay, so mind virus. This is now anybody you watch on YouTube or anywhere, Facebook, whatever it is, someone online, you take what you want and leave the rest. Meaning, like, the things I say may resonate with you and the things I say may not. And here in this channel, we're kind about it. We don't need to be right. We don't need to say you're wrong. We don't need to do all that. Like, it doesn't help anything. It's like, if you don't resonate with something, you don't resonate with it. There's so many people out there right now talking, which is amazing, but you want to see what lands for you. So if what I'm saying doesn't land for you, it doesn't land for you. Okay, so what is a mind virus? The way that I understand a mind virus is, let's just start with an example of doubt. Or actually, no, let's do this. Poverty consciousness. Poverty consciousness. That is a mind virus. And the reason it's helpful to look at it as a mind virus is because if you had something like a virus, right? Like flu, I don't even know if flu is a virus, to be honest, but something in your body that was wreaking havoc on you physically or causing an imbalance, we would do what it took to fix it, right? We would take medicine. Sometimes it takes surgery to remove something that's not supposed to be there in our body, like tumor or cancer, or maybe a part of our bodies become diseased. It's the same thing with our mind, the same thing with our energy field. So a lot of the things we do in shamanic practice is we do what's called spiritual surgery, and we remove what's not working in the body, what's not working in the energy field, what's not working in the mind, and most importantly, what's not supposed to be there. What's not supposed to be there. So let's just use poverty consciousness as an example. Now, poverty consciousness, why is it in our energy field? And it's all over the world. Let's just call poverty consciousness a virus. It is a virus that is all over the world, and it is freaking powerful. And it causes a lot of disruption in people. It causes people to feel disempowered, fearful, stressed, less than. And it can go so far as to actually create starvation, homelessness, people breaking up, divorce. It's so intense. But if you begin to think about it as a virus and think about it as this is the way I think about it. You can choose to think about it or not, but I work shamanically. I see energies in between the worlds. I see more than what meets the eye. And I'm working in these other realms. So with poverty consciousness is one of those things that got introduced into the human mind, into the human experience a very long time ago. Why? Because that particular virus, poverty consciousness, if people are poor or fearing being poor, they're easier to control. If you feel less empowered, you feel scared, fearful, anxious, all those things, you're easier to control as a collective. As a collective. So we're going to continue using poverty consciousness as an idea, as a example of a mind virus. And why did it get in here? Again, like so people can feel more controlled. But the thing is, or can be more controlled. Governments on a big level, not just American governance, I'm talking all governments, especially communism, if they keep you at a certain level, you're easier to control. Cuba, my daughter's boyfriend's parents are refugees from Cuba. So their mom was a doctor in Cuba. They're political refugees here. She made $20 a month as a doctor. That everybody gets paid the same, and it's $20 a month. When she lived there 10 years ago, maybe it's gone up. I have no idea. But she was explaining to me that the way they live there is of extreme control and extreme poverty. And the reason that the people don't rise up is because they're scared. So the government has created extreme poverty, that when they send money back to Cuba, which she does for her family, they have to do it in a sneaky way. They can't even send it normally because they will get confiscated. So that virus has been really, really added into that society, into that country, to control people, to disempower people. And then we live in a capitalist country here in the United States. Does it mean that the mind virus of poverty consciousness has been eradicated? Absolutely not. It's just more extreme. We do have opportunities to overcome it, but the virus is so intense and so thick that many people get caught up in it, and I have gotten caught up in it myself. So if we begin to think of these things that get into our minds, into our thoughts, as foreign, as something that's not supposed to be there, as something that needs to be removed, that's causing illness in the body, causing illness in the energy field, it will support you in thinking and realizing that it does not have to be there. There's so many mind viruses, right? There's so many ways that we can think of this as a virus, like self-doubt, self-loathing, addiction, something in your mind telling you to keep using again and again and again and again. I'm a recovering addict and alcoholic, and when I got sober, there was entities, and I've cleared so many entities for people that have been addicted. Again, spiritual surgery. These are things that are not natural to being a human being. They're just not. So a lot of like spiritual leaders, Wayne Dyer, Joe Dispenza, all of these like big names, they talk about these states of consciousness to get to higher states of consciousness so that we can live there without the viruses of the mind, such as self-doubt, self-loathing, righteous anger, comparison energy. All of these things are not natural to us. They are not natural to us. They are planted here. They are learned. And here's the awesome thing is they can be unlearned. And something like poverty consciousness, self-doubt, self-loathing, those are things get in pretty deep for people, especially when my results say I am poor. My results say I am not good enough. So your mind, your reality is matching what you think. So it's so hard for people sometimes to say, well, how do I get out of it when my reality is telling me this is what's happening? I am so guilty of that too. Like, I need to be proved wrong. But it starts with the thinking. The reality starts with the thinking. And let's say I was born into extreme poverty. We lived in a trailer park. My dad, when he killed himself, he was working in a slaughterhouse. That was his job. Like I had the electricity was shut off a lot. I had like 3 pairs of underwear. So that poverty consciousness got in, and it got in really deep. And it's a twofold. That virus is twofold, because you've got the poverty consciousness and then you got the self-doubt that goes along with it. And so when it gets into a familial line, it's sometimes very challenging to unravel from it. But here's what I'll say. If you begin to think of it as something like, and yes, it's within you. Yes, it's created within you. Absolutely. But you have the power to uncreate it. You have the power to uncreate it. There are countless stories of rags to riches. There are countless stories of people coming from extreme abuse, which that the virus of that family is criticism, let's say, or the virus of that family is, some sort of sexual abuse. People do, with hard work, determination, and knowing that that is not the way to live, they do come out of it. They do come out of it. So here's what I'd like to leave you with is just be mindful of the way you're thinking. Just be mindful of the way you're thinking. How do you see your reality? How do you see what's going on in your reality? Perception is everything. So just out of pure curiosity, not like, oh my gosh, I have poverty conscious. Oh my gosh. No, interesting. Wow, that just happened. And I went straight to, there must be something wrong with me. Or I just got a bill and I got freaked out of like, how am I going to pay this? And went into a whole thing in my mind of complete fear and breakdown. Just be aware. And here's what you can do is you can start to get empowered around it today and simply say things like, today, just for today, so you don't overwhelm yourself, just for today, I am going to release that way of thinking. Just for today, I'm going to feel wealthy and grateful, even if it's not true, right? But you don't even have to say that. Just for today, I'm going to be in self-confidence all day. And if you want to go back to the other things tomorrow, that's fine too. But there are thoughts in your mind that can be very loud and overpowering to sometimes the ones that are telling you you're amazing, you're rocking it, you're of the light, you're of God. Sometimes the other ones are louder, and sometimes we give energy to those thoughts. And often these things like poverty consciousness, self-doubt have been entered into the matrix, so to speak, very, very long time ago. Because I'm mad to keep people disempowered and more and easily controlled. Because imagine if every person on the planet felt empowered, unstoppable, full of love, and in their light, we wouldn't need the government. We wouldn't need police. We wouldn't need all that. We would handle it ourselves, because we would be a society and a species of harmony and peace and togetherness. So everything else that's been infused as we are been in here on our human journey are things that we get to unravel from. And this is how we're going to ascend here, is by not playing in and not giving power to these ways of thinking and these energetic, emotional mind viruses. It's how we overcome all this is by not giving into it. And so many times, more often than not, because I talk to a lot of people and I talk to a lot of people all over the world, and I listen to people talk themselves out of their greatness, talk themselves out of action, talk themselves out of moving forward so many times. And that is part of the virus. Like, you can't do this. Oh, you need more time. And it's also the ego trying to protect you. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't take that step. Don't take that action. You need more time to sit in your shit, which you don't. You don't. You don't need more time to sit in whatever it is. So just be curious and know that we can unravel from all of this. All right. My name is Beth Osmer. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next Tuesday.